The film begins with a man named Nathan Kane getting ready for work. He works as an assistant manager at a bank. At the office, his boss Nigel gathers all the employees and gives a motivational speech, telling them they're like family and should work together as one. Soon a young woman named Sherry Margrave walks in. She has been working there for almost 4 months. When Nathan sees her, he smiles as he secretly has feelings for her. Nathan then meets with a regular client, Earl, whose wife Betty recently passed away. Earl is struggling as he risks losing both his house and shop, heartbroken after spending 50 years with a woman he truly loved. He shares his pain with Nathan, wanting to help. Nathan comforts him and quietly promises to delay the paperwork until after the holidays, giving Earl some extra time to try and save his home. As Nathan is making a coffee, Sherry approaches him, but he accidentally spills the hot liquid on his hand, burning his skin. Sherry quickly apologizes and then asks him out for lunch. He politely declines and focuses on treating his wound. However, he suddenly recalls what Earl said about his marriage to Betty, which makes him reconsider without hesitation. He rushes back to accept Sherry's lunch invitation. During lunch, Nathan opens up to Sherry about his condition, congenital insensitivity to pain, which means he can't feel pain even if someone were to stab him. Because of this, he was sheltered most of his life. Sherry had already seen proof of it earlier, when he spilled hot coffee on his hand without reacting. He also avoids solid foods out of fear that he might accidentally bite his tongue. However, Sherry encourages him to try cherry pie for the first time, and he happily takes a bite. Later, she invites him to an art show she's hosting that evening and he gladly accepts. Later, that night, Nathan plays an online video game with his friend Roscoe Dixon, even though they have never met in person. As he hesitates about going to Sherry's art show, Roscoe urges him not to waste the opportunity. He tells Nathan that if he were in his place, he would definitely go. Moved by Roscoe's words, Nathan finally decides to attend. He enjoys the event and later spends time hanging out with Sherry. They run into a guy from Nathan's school, who used to bully him, calling him Novocaine, because everyone knew about his condition and would beat him up for fun. Sherry decides to get back at him by tricking him into taking shots with Nathan, but instead of alcohol she gives him ghost pepper hot sauce. The guy starts coughing uncontrollably, giving them both a good laugh. Later, Nathan and Sherry go back to his place. When Sherry helps him take off his shirt, she notices large tattoos covering his body. The moment grows intimate and they kiss, before spending the night together. The next morning on Christmas Eve, Nathan wakes up feeling better than ever. After making breakfast, he heads to work planning to meet Sherry and finally accept her proposal. However, before he gets the chance, 3 bank robbers dressed as Santa Claus, Simon, Andre, and Ben, burst in, firing their guns into the ceiling and knocking out employees. Simon demands the vault code from the manager Nigel, but when Nigel refuses, Simon brutally shoots him in the head to prove he's serious. Simon then threatens Nathan and even hits Sherry. Left with no choice, Nathan gives up the code and the robbers start loading bags with cash. Before leaving, they take Sherry as a hostage. As the police arrive and order them to surrender, the robbers open fire, killing the officers before speeding off with Sherry. Nathan rushes outside, watching him escape, thinking quickly. He uses his belt as a tourniquet to help a wounded cop, then grabs the officer's gun and steals his car, determined to chase down the robbers and save Sherry. Nathan continues chasing the robbers, as Simon orders Andre to take the car onto the highway, leaving Ben behind to deal with Nathan. The pursuit leads them into a narrow alley, where Nathan crashes his car and confronts Ben, demanding to know where his friends are taking Sherry. But Ben refuses to talk, tosses his gun aside and runs into a nearby kitchen. Nathan follows him inside, where they get into a brutal fight. During the struggle, Ben's gun falls into a pot of boiling oil. Without hesitation, Nathan plunges his hand in to retrieve it. He keeps fighting until he manages to shoot Ben in the head. He then searches Ben's pockets and finds a mobile phone with a text message, "Just landed, where are you?" written on it. Nathan then takes a picture of Ben's tattoo. Before getting back into the car, he sends the image to Roscoe, asking for help in tracking down local tattoo artists, who might recognize the design. At the same time, he tries to find out where Ben worked, hoping it will lead him to Simon and Andre and ultimately to Sherry. Meanwhile, back at the bank, detectives Mincy and Coltrane arrive to investigate the robbery. As they examine the crime scene, they discover a crucial piece of evidence, Nathan's belt, which he had used to stop a wounded cop's bleeding. This leads them to suspect Nathan's involvement in the incident. Elsewhere, Nathan heads to Earl's shop, needing help to remove a bullet from his arm. Earl is shocked by Nathan's complete lack of pain, realizing just how unusual his condition is. After getting patched up, Nathan thanks Earl by handing him a thick stack of stolen cash, enough to help save his home. Overcome with gratitude, Earl tells Nathan that his late wife Betty always spoke highly of him. Meanwhile, detectives Mincy and Coltrane arrive at the kitchen. where Nathan killed Ben. As they examine the scene, Mincy calls Nathan, accusing him of being one of the robbers and demanding he return the stolen money. Shocked, Nathan quickly explains that he's not a thief. He's chasing the real robbers to rescue Sherry. He insists he's doing this because he doesn't believe the police will act fast enough to save her. Though skeptical, Mincy senses Nathan's sincerity and starts to feel somewhat sympathetic toward his mission. Meanwhile, Simon and Andre are hiding out at an auto shop, with Andre growing anxious about Ben's absence. As they wait, a shocking truth is revealed: Sherry is actually Simon's sister and had been part of the plan all along, ever since she started working at the bank. However, despite being involved in the scheme, Sherry is horrified by Simon's ruthless actions, especially his cold-blooded murder of manager Nigel. It's clear she never expected things to go this far. Later that day, Nathan tracks down a tattoo shop, where Ben had gotten his ink. There he questions the artist Zeno about Ben. However, Zeno quickly grows suspicious and refuses to cooperate. When Nathan pulls a gun on him, Zeno's assistant tries to intervene but ends up accidentally getting knocked out by Zeno. During struggle, Nathan is thrown against a mirror, but instead of backing down, he smashes his fists into the broken glass, embedding shards into his skin. Using the jagged pieces, he slashes Zeno across the face twice, blinding him. When Zeno still refuses to reveal where Ben worked, Nathan grabs a tattoo pen and blacks out the swastika tattoo on Zeno's skin as a final act of defiance. Moments later, Roscoe calls Nathan and tells Ben's home address. Without hesitation, Nathan tattoos the address onto his own hand. At least find Simon and Andre. Andre listens to a police scanner and hears that Ben is confirmed dead, killed by a skinny guy in suit. Simon realizes they're talking about Nathan, and Sherry immediately understands that Nathan is coming for them. Furious, Andre decides to avenge his brother. Meanwhile, Nathan arrives at Ben's home, only to find it rigged with booby traps and arrow shoot into his leg, and before he can remove it, he's caught in the snare, leaving him hanging upside down. Desperate, he calls Roscoe for help. However, Roscoe hesitates, knowing Nathan is now linked to robbery and murder. Nathan pleads with him, saying that saving Sherry is the only thing that matters, and reminding Roscoe that he's his only real friend. Touched by Nathan's words, Roscoe agrees to come in 10 minutes. Unfortunately, Andre gets there first. He attempts to torture Nathan as revenge for Ben's death, but Nathan fakes his reactions, pretending to feel pain just as Andre is about to gouge out Nathan's eye. Roscoe arrives and knocks him over the head. A brutal fight breaks out, with Roscoe tossing a knife to Nathan. Nathan catches it, but it ends up stabbing through his own hand. He then turns the weapon on Andre, jamming it into his foot. The struggle continues, until Nathan locks Andre's head between his legs. He forces the arrow deeper into his own leg, until it pierces through and straight into Andre's skull, killing him. As police sirens approach, Roscoe creates a diversion, allowing Nathan to escape. The cops arrest Roscoe, but before they take him away, he tips off Mincy and Coltrane about where Nathan is headed. Next, Nathan tracks down the auto body shop and corners Simon at gunpoint just when it seems like he has the upper hand. Simon flips the situation by revealing his connection to Sherry. She's his sister and she was in on a robbery from the start. Nathan is stunned, giving Simon the chance to grab a weapon and prepare to kill him. Before he can pull the trigger, detectives Mincy and Coltrane arrive and shoot Simon in the side, stopping him. Nathan, barely conscious from his injuries, is loaded into an ambulance. The officer handcuffs Sherry, but before they can arrest Simon, he suddenly shoots Coltrane in the neck and Mincy in the side. Simon then grabs the stolen cash and kills several paramedics before hijacking the ambulance, where Nathan is still inside. Meanwhile, Sherry helps Mincy to her feet and joins her and Roscoe in chasing after Simon, realizing he's heading for a boat to escape with the money. Nathan regains consciousness in the ambulance and quickly breaks his thumb to slip free from the cuffs. Spotting a defibrillator nearby, he grabs it and shocks Simon in the head, causing the ambulance to crash. When Sherry arrives, Simon gains the upper hand and brutally beats Nathan, even fracturing his arm so badly that the bone juts out. Just as Simon is about to kill Sherry, Nathan injects himself with adrenaline pushing paste. His injuries, using his exposed bone as a weapon, he drives it through Simon's jaw and into his head, killing him instantly. Nathan then collapses as medics rush in to help. Weeks later, Nathan wakes up in the hospital. After being in a medically induced coma, Roscoe is there by his side, and soon Mincy arrives. She informs him that he's facing enough charges to land him in prison for years, but because he saves her life and because he's a white guy who works at a bank, he gets a reduced sentence of 6 months under house arrest. 1 year later, Nathan and Roscoe are still gaming together, but this time Nathan logs off early to go on a date with Sherry. She's still serving time but is set to be released in 8 months. During their visit, they share a slice of cherry pie just like on their first date. As their time together ends, Nathan takes a bite, savoring the moment, and smiles.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.